Hello everyone, welcome to week 11 lecture videos. In this week we will be covering qualitative research tools, and our today's agenda is chapter 7. We have 4 learning objectives today. The first one is we will understand the difference between qualitative and quantitative research. Then we will be discussing some basic qualitative research orientations. We will see some commonly used qualitative research tools. And as usual, I will be uploading separate videos on each of these learning objectives. And in this video, I will be discussing the difference between qualitative research and quantitative research. So first of all, what do we mean by qualitative research, or what do we understand by qualitative research? You know, when we conduct a business research, actually we are addressing a business research problem, or we are addressing a research objective. Now, quantitative research that we have been discussing in the last few weeks address a research problem by numeric measurement. But qualitative research tools that we will be discussing today address a research problem without numeric measurement. That means in qualitative research tools, we do not depend on numeric data or numeric analysis. Without depending on them, this qualitative research try to provide an in-depth interpretation of a particular research issue. Now you can say, well, quantitative research doesn't provide an in-depth interpretation. Probably not, because quantitative research is very much objective. For example, you have seen that you develop a hypothesis and you do some hypothesis test and you say hypothesis accepted or rejected. So that's very much an objective answer. However, qualitative research tools provides a more detailed and more in-depth interpretation of a phenomena. Qualitative research is researcher dependent. Since qualitative research is subjective, researcher needs to interpret, or researcher needs to explain some qualitative responses from respondents, maybe in the form of text, in the form of recorded interview, or in the form of a collage. These are the responses a respondent provide in qualitative research, and researcher needs to interpret them. That's why qualitative research is researcher dependent, and it may vary based on researcher to researcher. When qualitative research is useful? Well, in general, qualitative research is useful when we are doing a research for an in-depth understanding of a research issue, or we do not have a very clear understanding of the research objective, or we do not have a very clear research problem or research issue. Then qualitative research is useful to clarify the situation. More specifically, qualitative research is useful when it is difficult to develop a specific and actionable decision statement and research objectives. As I already said, if you do not have a very clear understanding of your research objective or actionable research question, then you will use qualitative research that will increase your understanding of the research question or research issue. The research objective is to develop a detailed and in-depth understanding of some phenomena. You do not need a very objective answer of acceptance or rejection of a hypothesis. Rather, you need a detailed understanding, an in-depth understanding. Then a qualitative research should be useful. And researcher's objective is to learn how a phenomena occurs in natural setting. Like, you want to know how a certain business phenomena happens in a natural setting. Then you may conduct a research objective. You may conduct a qualitative research. For example, you want to see how invoices are actually processed in an accounts department of an organization. Or you want to see that how a particular product is used by customers. Okay, in that case, you might now go for a qualitative research and you observe your respondents. The behavior of researcher is particularly context dependent. If you doing a research where the research or respondent's behavior is context dependent, then you may go for qualitative research. and a fresh approach to studying the problem is needed. What does it mean the fresh approach is needed? Sometimes it's possible that we go for a quantitative research, we identify some variables to explain other variables, we collect data, conduct some statistical test. However, the results we obtain may not be consistent with our objectives or may not be consistent with our theoretical understanding. In that case, a fresh approach might be needed for a more in-depth or detailed understanding of the research issue. Now, what are the major differences between qualitative and quantitative research? I already indicated some differences. First of all, quantitative research is descriptive and conclusive. So quantitative research provides you a conclusive answer. For example, variables A and B are related to each other, yes or no? A influences B or no? A and B are similar or different? A and B, is there mean difference or they are same? So they're very much descriptive, they're descriptive and they are very much conclusive and they are very much objective. However, qualitative research is subjective. Qualitative research does not provide you a very conclusive answer. So it's exploratory type of research. Use a small versus large sample. You understand that quantitative approach uses large sample and qualitative approach uses a small sample. Ask a broad range of questions versus structured questions. Qualitative research asks a broad range of questions because its objective is a more detailed understanding versus a structured question. In quantitative research, we use very structured question because we have a good understanding of the research issue. And as I already indicated, that qualitative research provides subjective interpretation, whereas quantitative research provides very objective interpretation based on statistical analysis. And the quantitative research is based on numeric data, where we have different numbers arranged in a meaningful way, whereas qualitative research is based on qualitative data. Qualitative data is anything other than numeric numbers. So it can be textual, visual, oral, it can be stories, visual portrayals, meaningful characterizations, interpretation, or so on. Now, the differences once again, the qualitative research discovers ideas. That means, as I mentioned, that when you are exploring a new issue, new research issue, you will go for qualitative research. On the other hand, quantitative research tests hypotheses. So here you know what are the variables involved and what are the prospective hypotheses you are testing. Qualitative research observe and interpret. So it provides a more detailed interpretation on the basis of observation of the researcher. And quantitative research does not observe, it measures. It measures if there is a difference, it measures if there is a relationship, it measures if there is a significant association between two variables, and then they test it. Qualitative research is unstructured, whereas quantitative research uses very structured responses. In qualitative research, researcher is intimately involved. As I said, that qualitative research is subjective, so researcher try to interpret or explain a respondent's answer in the researcher's own way. Whereas the quantitative researcher is not involved because it's based on quantitative analysis or statistical analysis. So whoever the researcher, conclusion should be the same. Qualitative research uses small samples, sometimes in natural setting, whereas quantitative research uses large sample. And I also have indicated that qualitative research is a sort of exploratory type of research design. And when we are exploring a new phenomena, we use qualitative research, whereas quantitative research uses descriptive and causal research design, because quantitative research, descriptive and causal research designs are used because quantitative research describes a certain phenomena or find out if there is a causal relationship between two variables. So this is the end of our discussion on Learning Objective 1. Please see the next video for a discussion on Learning Objective 2. Thank you.